Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name's Alex. I'm a third year student here at Swansea University, currently in my final year, studying accounting and finance. Having joined back in 2018, I've thoroughly enjoyed my time, albeit it's coming to an end. I'm really looking forward to the future as well. Now, this video is just to provide students studying MN 3005 or potential students studying MN 3005 with a bit of context, a bit of information regarding the module. I think it's such a good module to take, and also a bit of information surrounding the coursework assignment, because at first, maybe like some of you, I was pretty anxious, pretty nervous around the coursework. I'm really thinking, it was a daunting prospect for me to write. So hopefully this video will provide some guidance and some information, some help. So firstly, why I think the module is great. Well, I chose this module because of the plethora of topics it provides. It goes into detail each week, albeit sort of very vast amounts of information. Really enables you to get a sound understanding of elements of the financial system, elements of financial markets, pensions, financial integration, insurance. It really gives such a great overview and a module I think that really can give you information that you can take into the world of work, and something that I hopefully will do in the very near future. Now, that said, the coursework assignment. So very early on in the module, I think maybe the first week, obviously in the module handbook, the coursework assignment was there, and it was to come up with an investment strategy that'd be attractive to a hedge fund. Now, upon reflection, I know, and even going through it, I know I was pretty anxious, pretty nervous. The first week, I had no idea what to write about. So those of you that this may resonate with, don't worry. Over the coming weeks, it will definitely get easier. And I think the number one sort of key piece of information, piece of help I have is just read around the topics, come up with an idea, and then follow it through. Look online, how can you implement it, etc. So that said, my investment strategy. So obviously the times at the minute incredibly uncertain. Back in September and October of 2020, when I was writing this investment strategy, no vaccine had been announced for COVID-19, and so times were even more uncertain. That said, as well, dividends, on the other hand, dividends are naturally uncertain. Nobody knows for sure what dividends will be. Therefore, heightened with the pandemic, dividends are incredibly uncertain. So, with all this said, I had this idea in place. Now, I think it was in the third week where in the seminar we went over this investment strategy. We'd been given a very brief investment strategy, a bit of help just thinking, I think it was a strategy on mean reversion. Now, this was a great strategy to use, and you could have used it, put your own take on it, but I had this idea of dividends. And so I then sort of partaked in further weeks of just reading around the subject and came across this theorem called the spot futures parity theorem, and it essentially depicts how you come to a futures price. So in very simple terms, I now had this equation, as it were, that gave me what a futures price should be, and in that it incorporates dividends. Now, I found on the website that to incorporate futures, dividends were assumed to be X. Now, obviously, because of the pandemic, dividends cannot be assumed. Dividends are incredibly uncertain. Therefore, I essentially took all this knowledge, built upon it, and my strategy sets out that I take a long or a short position depending on whether I think dividends are going to be greater or less than what the market thinks they're going to be. Now, the market thinks dividends will be the market thinks dividends will be X based on the futures price, i.e. the dividends will be incorporated in that futures price. But if I think actually dividends are going to be higher or less than, then I can trade through ETFs or stocks. I can long or short both of those instruments along with futures, or along with taking opposing positions with futures to gain profit. So hopefully, although that may seem a bit confusing, hopefully that provides you with some detail about my strategy. But really, this video is just to provide you with a bit of context regarding the strategy. Now, albeit it seems, me talking about it now, it seems pretty easy to go back and think about it, but really in weeks 1 to 3, I was pretty nervous about it. But I think having done the reading, having gone online, looked at websites and really tried to come up with my own strategy, really believing in it and thinking about it, how should this play out? and then talking to my lecturer in office hours and also out of office hours, it really helped. Being able to talk to someone about a strategy and actually having a coherent conversation with someone like me who is not a finance addict, as it were. I don't know everything. I'm very junior to the world of finance, but being able to talk to someone who specialises in the area, I think it is brilliant. So that's definitely one piece of guidance I give, is be able to talk to your lecturer about the strategy, how you want to incorporate the strategy, what it is, and I think you'll do really well. And also, I just think the key do your readings. Obviously, in the lecture, I think we spoke about the efficient market hypothesis. Now that was my hypothesis. It was efficient market hypothesis. I said that actually in times this doesn't work. It's not always the efficient market hypothesis never holds. And I incorporated this because I believe there were dividend discrepancies, and I was able to illustrate this through a bit of use of Excel and a bit of analysis using Excel. But yeah, I just think if you can, again, utilize what you've learned in the lecture, put it into the strategy, that will help tremendously. So my final sort of piece of guidance from the investment strategy is that yes, it can be really daunting. And I was in the position, I think, as I said, weeks 1 to 3, I was really anxious about it. Did not think I'd do well in it at all. But being able to go out, do your individual reading, remaining on top of the lectures, especially in the early weeks, of course the later weeks as well, but being able to thoroughly understand what you're being taught, and then when you're writing the strategy, fully understanding what you're writing about will really help. And being able to have a conversation with the lecturer, as in my case, or even to your friends, trying to explain it to them, that will really help. So hopefully this video does provide you with a bit of guidance. Of course, my strategy about long and shorting dividends, how I approached it, trying to be current to the times, and this strategy has probably been used for many years, but giving it my take in the midst of the pandemic, but also hopefully sort of giving you guidance that take time to read articles online, to read the resources you have around you, but also then to talk to friends, but talk to lecturers about your strategy. If you would like any more, any more guidance, information regarding the module or the strategy, please feel free to email me. I'd be more than happy to help. And yeah, I hope this helps. Thank you very much.